My sister's baby shower invite included a note. Gifts $5,000 minimum. When I showed up with $1.50. Can you imagine the kind of person who would publicly humiliate an 11-year-old at a baby shower, just to make a point? What if that person was your own mother and the boy was your son? That day she sealed her own fate with a single cruel sentence. It all went down at my sister Monica's baby shower. The place was a rented event hall my parents loved. All chandeliers, cheap carpet, pink balloons everywhere, fake greenery, and a dessert table spelling baby girl in gold letters. My son Noah was there. He's 11, quiet, careful, the kind of kid who triple checks his homework and still asks for a hug. He was sitting at the kids' table, clutching this little crocheted baby blanket he'd spent 3 weeks making with my neighbor. On the table in front of every other cousin was a white gift bag labeled Cousin Crew. Custom shirts, candy, keychains with best cousin ever. Every cousin but Noah. He looked around, his eyes searching like he was sure they just missed him. He even lifted the centerpiece to see if his bag was stuck behind it. Nothing. "Grandma?" he asked my mom, his voice barely audible over the music. "Did mine get moved?" My mom didn't even glance at him. "Oh, those were just for the real Cousin Crew, sweetheart," she said so dismissively. "We didn't think you'd be here that much once the baby comes." The air went out of my chest. Whoosh. The room didn't even go quiet. People kept talking, laughing across the room. But I saw Noah go completely still. His shoulders dropped half an inch like someone had turned his volume down. He swallowed. "Okay," he whispered, pulling the blanket into his lap as if it could hide him. I should have left right then. Instead, I walked over to Monica, handed her the small box of baby clothes I'd bought, and tucked a simple white envelope with a $50 Target card into it. I tried to smile, tried to pretend my kid hadn't just been told he wasn't real family. Monica saw the card when she opened the envelope. I saw it on her face, confusion then annoyance. And then my mom, who I now realize had been waiting for this exact moment, picked up her plastic champagne glass and tapped it with a spoon. "Everyone," she called out too loud. "Can I have your attention for just a second?" The room quieted. People turned. My cousin paused mid-refill of the punch bowl. Mom held up Monica's invitation in one hand, and my little white envelope in the other. "When we sent these out," she said, her voice sugary sweet, "we put a little note at the bottom. Just a small thing. Gifts $5,000 minimum." A few chuckles. Some people looked around like, is she joking? She wasn't. "We have some very generous family," she went on. "People who understand that when family needs help, we step up." And then she looked straight at me, holding my envelope between her fingers like it was dirty. "Some people just don't value family." The room actually froze that time. Someone muttered, "Whoa." My aunt coughed. My brother looked down at his shoes. Noah heard it. I watched his ears turn bright red. He looked at me trying to figure out what he'd done wrong again. I smiled. I smiled so wide my jaw ached because if I didn't, I was going to say something I couldn't take back. I reached into my jacket pocket, pulled out my phone and opened my banking app. The scheduled transfer at the top of the screen glowed back at me. $380,000 down payment wire to Clear Creek title in escrow. Memo: Mom and Dad plus Monica dream house. Status: pending. I tapped it. My thumb hovered over pause transfer. 20 minutes later, while my mom was still pretending the room hadn't gotten weird and Monica was opening her 15th gift, her phone started ringing. I recognized the ringtone. It was the one she used for important people. When she saw the caller ID, she went pale. "Why is my realtor calling?" she muttered, grabbing the phone and walking fast toward the doors. I already knew why. "I'm Daryl. I'm 41, a litigation attorney in Charlotte, North Carolina. I do a lot of commercial stuff, contracts, real estate disputes. More conference rooms than courtrooms. I'm divorced with one kid, Noah, 11, who stays with me half the week. We live in a brick townhouse I bought 3 years ago. It's nothing fancy but it's ours." He helped pick the paint for his room, blue-gray walls, bookshelves we built together one weekend with way too many screws. My parents, Linda and Robert, live 20 minutes away in the same 3-bedroom ranch they bought in 1986. My younger sister, Monica, is the golden child. She's 36, influencer light, married to Ethan, a guy who sells luxury outdoor kitchens and somehow never seems to have actual money. I was always the responsible one. Translation: the one with steady income. It started small. A short-term loan when Dad's truck died for $1,000. Then paying off a surprise balance on their credit card, $8,700 and change. When my first big case settled, I slipped them $10,000 for the kitchen. They bought a 75-inch TV. When Monica got married, they called me in tears. They couldn't afford the venue she wanted. We already told everyone, Mom said. It'll be humiliating if we cancel. I wired $25,000. When IVF didn't work the first time, I wrote another check, $15,000. Just don't tell Noah, Mom had said then, as if it would confuse him to know Uncle Daryl was helping create the cousin he kept asking for. Meanwhile, Noah was tolerated. They forgot his 5th birthday entirely. Showed up the next day with a gas station cake and a card that said, grandson, with my nephew's name crossed out and Noah scribbled in. At Christmas, there was the year everyone had matching stockings on the mantle. My sister's kids, my brother's girls. No stocking for Noah. Mom said she couldn't find one that matched the set. I kept telling him, they love you. They're just distracted. I told myself the same thing. It was easier than admitting my parents treated my son like he was on a trial period. 2 years ago, Dad fell off a ladder cleaning the gutters. Broke his hip. He recovered, but the doctor quietly told me, he shouldn't really be doing stairs. That house isn't great for aging. That's when I got the idea for the so-called dream house. A bigger place with a ground floor bedroom for my parents and enough space for Monica and Ethan later, if they needed somewhere. In a newer neighborhood with sidewalks and a decent yard, closer to Noah's school so he could actually ride his bike over. I ran the numbers like I would for a client. If I put $380,000 down, they could handle the rest of the mortgage comfortably on my parents' retirement, plus what Monica and Ethan claimed they'd contribute. Title in my name, life estate for them. Clean paperwork so no one got taken advantage of. I told myself it was an investment and also a gift, both at once. They cried when I told them. Mom called it our miracle. Dad actually hugged me. Monica hugged me too and whispered, you're the best big brother in the world. We spent 3 months house hunting with a realtor named Tanya. Every group text was a new listing. My mom stopped complaining about her old kitchen because she was too busy sending me photos of huge islands and walk-in pantries. What they didn't stop doing was forgetting my kid. They took all the grandkids to Disney World last spring. All except Noah. The excuse that time was custody. It's just so hard, honey, Mom said. We didn't want to make things complicated with your ex. I offered to rearrange my week. I offered to pay for Noah's ticket and his room. They went without him anyway. When they came back, they handed him a generic Mickey mug and said, we thought of you the whole time. Sure. When Monica's pregnancy finally took, the group chat exploded. Ultrasound pictures, nursery inspo, baby name polls. They didn't ask Noah what he thought. They asked my sister's kids to write letters to the baby. From the cousins, Mom told them at dinner one night. Noah was there, chewing his chicken too slowly, waiting for his turn. Then Mom turned to him. Oh, sweetie, you can just sign on to one of theirs. All of this, somehow, I swallowed. Because that's what I do, apparently. I buffer. I rationalize. I tell myself things like, they're old school. They'll get better when the baby's here. Right up until that stupid invitation arrived. The baby shower invite showed up in my mailbox like a wedding announcement. Thick cardstock, pale pink watercolor flowers, my sister's name in gold script. And at the bottom, in smaller letters, a neat little note. Gifts $5,000 minimum, please. Let's bless baby girl the way she deserves. I actually laughed out loud when I read it. I assumed it was a joke at first. Some influencer thing. Then Mom called. So, she said too casually, did you see the note? Yeah, I said. I did. That was a joke, right? Silence. Daryl, she sighed like I was being deliberately dense. You know how much Monica and Ethan have been through, all those treatments all the time. This baby is a miracle. We want to make sure she comes into the world set up. You want people to, what? Wire $5,000 for attending a shower. People who can, she said. You know, we don't expect that from everyone. She didn't have to say it, but I knew she meant just from me. And you sent that to the whole guest list? I asked. Coworkers, church people, they'll understand, she said quickly. It's family. It's love. It wasn't love. It was a shakedown wrapped in a pastel font. I thought about saying no. I got as far as drafting a text. I'll bring something thoughtful, but I'm not participating in a $5,000 cover charge. Then I pictured Noah's face if we didn't go. He'd been carrying the ultrasound picture around in his backpack. He called the baby Bean, and talked about reading bedtime stories to her when she was born. So I made a different plan. I bought a little pile of baby onesies, a pack of bottles, and a stuffed elephant. Normal gifts. Sensible. I put the Target card in the envelope because I knew that room. If I showed up with nothing in the shape of a card, my mom would make sure everyone knew. And I told myself the same lie again. If they show you they're willing to treat Noah right at the shower, you still go through with the house. If they don't, you don't. I didn't tell them that second part. They'd already been punishing me for the one time I did say no. Last year, Ethan asked me to co-sign a loan for his expanding business. He wanted $250,000 to open a second showroom. I read the numbers and told him calmly that he was already leveraged as far as any sane lender would go. "You're a lawyer?" he'd snapped. "You of all people should know paperwork doesn't mean everything." "Paperwork means exactly everything," I'd said. "That's the point." He stormed out of my apartment that night. 3 days later, Mom called to tell me I'd changed since the divorce, and that money made me cold. Ever since, it was little jabs, snide comments about my car, about my condo, about how some people forget where they come from once they make partner track. The baby shower was the culmination of all of it. A room full of people they wanted as witnesses. A chance to remind everyone that I was the walking wallet and my kid was extra. So, when Mom told Noah he wasn't part of the real cousin crew, something in me just stopped. I watched him sit there with his empty spot on the table while the other kids pulled tissue paper out of gift bags and squealed over glitter pens and matching shirts. I watched Monica take the crocheted blanket from him with one distracted, "Oh, how sweet," and then set it behind the punch bowl like it was a napkin. I watched Mom make her speech about some people not valuing family, waving that $50 card like a prop. And it finally clicked. It wasn't about the card. It wasn't about the $5,000. It wasn't even about the house. It was about the fact that my parents were perfectly comfortable building their future on my money while making it painfully clear my kid was never going to be fully welcome in that future. They wanted my bank account. They did not want my son. That was the last straw. Not the missing gift bag. Not the invitation. Not even the Disney trip. It was the look on Noah's face when my mother used me as an example of someone who doesn't value family right in front of him. He didn't ask if I was hurt. He asked if he had done something wrong. I don't remember standing up. I just remember suddenly being in the hallway outside the banquet room, my heart pounding, my phone heavy in my hand. "Dad," Noah's voice echoed in my head. Did mine get moved? I opened the banking app. The account was listed as Family Home Fund. It had taken me 6 years of careful saving, bonuses, and saying no to things I actually wanted. The scheduled wire showed next to it, $380,000, due to hit Monday morning at 9 a.m. Destination, Clear Creek title and escrow. Property address, a 5-bedroom craftsman-style house with a wraparound porch that my mother had already called her last house. We hadn't closed yet. We were in the inspection period. Paperwork was drafted, but nothing was finalized. As the only buyer on the contract, I had the right to walk away. "Hey man, you okay?" My younger brother Jason had followed me out. He's 39, works construction, not a saint, but usually neutral. "I'm fine," I said, which we both knew was a lie. "That thing Mom said," he rubbed the back of his neck. "That was messed up. And the bag thing? I told her Noah should have one, by the way." "Did you?" "Yeah. She said she didn't want to confuse the dynamic, whatever that means." "Of course she did." I looked at my brother. "If I pull out of the house, they'll blame you." He snorted. "They already blame me for everything. I'll live." I nodded once, then I tapped Manage Transfer. A little menu slid up. Edit. Pause. Cancel. My thumb hovered over pause. Safer. Reversible. I chose cancel. A warning popped up. "Are you sure you want to cancel this scheduled transfer?" "Yes." Confirm. Another screen. Transfer canceled. Confirmation #8843C. I took a screenshot. My hands were steady. Then I swiped to my contacts and called Tanya, the realtor. She picked up on the second ring. "Hey Daryl, ready for final walkthrough dates?" "Not exactly," I said, keeping my voice even. "We need to hit pause on 72 Fairway." Silence. "Pause how?" "I'm withdrawing my offer," I said. "Within my rights under the inspection contingency. I'll email you formally tonight, but I wanted you to know now so you can let the sellers start showing it again." She exhaled. "Can I ask why?" "Family situation changed," I said. "And I'm not comfortable moving forward. This is my decision, not negotiable." "You understand your parents and your sister will hear this from me?" she asked gently. "They've been calling about their house." "I understand," I said. "That's why I'm calling you and not waiting until Monday." "Okay," she said slowly. "I'll call them in a bit. I'll send the withdrawal form to your email." "Thanks, Tanya." I hung up. Then I opened my email and saw her message come in. I signed the digital form with my finger, hit submit, and watched the confirmation screen slide across. It felt quiet, not triumphant, just very, very clear. When I walked back into the banquet room, Mom was in the middle of some game where people guessed baby food flavors. The tension from earlier had mostly smoothed over. People were laughing again. Noah glanced up when he saw me. His eyes were shiny like he'd been close to crying but hadn't. I sat down next to him. "You doing okay, buddy?" He shrugged. "Can I give the baby my blanket later? Maybe when she's born. Maybe Aunt Monica will like it more then." "You did a great job on it," I said. "It deserves better than this party." He leaned into my shoulder. "I like ours better anyway," he mumbled. "When it's just us." My throat tightened. "Me too." 20 minutes later, Monica's phone started blaring her realtor ringtone. She frowned, picked it up. "Hey Tanya," she chirped. "We're at the shower, what's—" Her face changed mid-sentence. The color drained. She stood up so fast her chair scraped against the floor. "What do you mean he withdrew?" she said, her voice going sharp. "What? No. That can't, no. The money is for my brother. The house is for my parents and me. He can't just—" "He did what?" Every conversation in the room trailed off. My mother set down her plastic glass very carefully. "What's wrong?" she demanded. Monica turned, her eyes locking onto me like I'd set a fire. "You canceled the down payment," she hissed. "Daryl, what did you do?" A hush dropped over the tables. Even the kids got quiet. I stood up. My heart wasn't racing anymore. It was weirdly steady. "I canceled a gift," I said. "One I hadn't actually given yet." Mom shot out of her chair. "That was our house," she said, her voice shaking. "Our retirement. The plan. You promised." I nodded. "I did. And then today, you stood in front of my son and used me as an example of someone who doesn't value family. Because I brought a $50 gift card instead of a down payment disguised as a baby present." Her mouth opened and closed. "And before that," I added, glancing at the kids' table, "you made sure every real cousin got a gift bag, except my kid again." People were staring at her now, not me. "It's not about the card," I said quietly. "It's about the fact that you want my money more than you want my son. And I'm done paying for that." I grabbed my coat from the back of the chair. "Noah, let's go." He stood up fast and grabbed his blanket. As we walked toward the door, my mom called after us. "You're going to blow up your family over a toy bag and a misunderstanding," she shouted, her voice bordering on a tantrum. I turned back just long enough to answer. "I'm not blowing anything up," I said. "I'm just not buying you a house you don't deserve." Then we left. The text messages started before we hit the highway. From Mom, "You embarrassed us in front of everyone. You humiliated your sister while she's pregnant. You're punishing an unborn baby, Daryl." From Dad, which was rare, "Grow up. You made a commitment. Men keep their word." From Monica, "How dare you use the house to control us? You don't get to yank it away because you're mad for 5 minutes." I put my phone face down in the cup holder. Noah stared out the window, clutching the blanket. "Dad," he said finally. "Grandma's mad at you, huh?" "Yeah," I said. "She is." "Because of me?" His voice wobbled. "Because I didn't have a bag?" My chest hurt. "No, because of her," I said. "Because she forgot how to treat you. That's on her, not you." He was quiet for a second. "Are we still getting the house with the porch swing?" "No," I said honestly. "We're not." He thought about that. "I like our house," he said. "The porch is small, but the neighbor's dog can reach my hand from their yard." I smiled at the windshield. "Then we'll keep our small porch." That night, after Noah went to bed, I sat at the kitchen table and typed one group text to my parents and Monica. "I'm not your backup bank. The down payment is off the table permanently. I won't fund a family my son isn't part of. Please don't contact me unless it's to apologize to him." Then I put their thread on mute. The next day at the office, my assistant poked her head into my doorway. "There's a woman at reception asking for you. Says she's your mother." I sighed. "Tell her I'm with a client." I wasn't. I just didn't trust myself not to lose the calm tone I was clinging to. A few minutes later, my office phone rang. It was the front desk. "She says she's not leaving until you talk to her," the receptionist whispered. "Do you want security too?" "Yes," I said. "Please," politely. By the time I left that evening, the lobby was empty. No dramatic scenes. Just a note in my email from building security saying, "Per your request, guest was asked to leave and complied." At home, Noah was at the table doing math homework. He looked up when I walked in. "Grandma came by," he said. I stopped here. She knocked. He pointed to the counter. I didn't open the door. Miss Johnson saw her from across the hall and came out. She said, "You weren't home." Grandma left a bag on the doorknob. Inside the bag was one of the leftover Cousin Crew shirts, still folded, and a gift bag identical to the others from the shower. The tag said, "Noah." The shirt was the wrong size. There was a note tucked inside, "You're making this bigger than it is. We love Noah, but you can't expect us to treat him the same when he's not really around as much. Please put the house back. We've already told everyone." I put everything back in the bag and dropped it straight into the trash can. A week passed. Then 2. Word got around the family. My aunt called to check on me, but accidentally let slip that my parents were telling people my ex-wife had turned me against them. Monica posted vague Instagram stories about toxic relatives and money manipulators. My brother Jason came over one Sunday with a pizza and a six-pack. "You know they lost their earnest money when you pulled out, right?" he said, sitting on my couch. I offered to cover it, I said. Tanya told them I'd eat it. They told her they'd sue me. She laughed. "I have the email." Jason snorted. "Yeah, that sounds right." He grew serious. "For what it's worth, I'm glad you did it. I've been watching them treat Noah like a visitor for years. I should have said something sooner." "You did today," I said. He shrugged and tossed Noah a slice of pizza. "Hey kiddo. You still got that Switch? I'm ready to get destroyed in Mario Kart." Noah lit up for the first time in days. We didn't talk about the house again that night. Months went by. My parents didn't buy another place. The market moved on. The house on Fairway went under contract with some young couple and their toddler. According to Tanya, Mom sent a long email around Easter. Half apology, half demand. There was a line in it that summed everything up. "We're family. You're supposed to help us." I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I hit delete. I wasn't cruel. I sent birthday cards. I let Noah answer calls from them if he wanted to, supervised, short. But I didn't uncancel the house. I didn't offer a smaller version. I didn't send more money. The dream house stayed a dream for them. For us, something else started to take shape. On the weekend we should have been helping them move. The date circled on the calendar with closing written in my mom's handwriting. Noah and I spent Saturday painting an accent wall in his bedroom. He talked me into a deep navy blue. I'd been hesitant, worried it would make the room dark, but once it dried it looked good. Grown up. His choice. We spread an old sheet on the floor. He had on one of my t-shirts, sleeves hanging past his elbows. There was paint on his cheek, in his hair, probably on the back of his ear. "Do you miss them?" he asked at one point, rolling the paint carefully. "Grandma and Grandpa?" I thought about it. "I miss who they were when I was your age," I said. "I don't really miss who they're being right now." He nodded like that made sense. "Do you miss the big house?" he added. I looked around at his small, messy room, books stacked sideways, Lego builds on the dresser, the crocheted baby blanket folded at the end of his bed now, because he decided the baby didn't need it as much. "No," I said. "I think this is exactly where we're supposed to be." That afternoon, Jason showed up with his 2 kids and a grocery bag full of snacks. "We're hijacking your Saturday," he announced. Cousins insisted. His daughter handed Noah a handmade card that said, "Official Cousin Crew," with all their names written inside, including his. "We made our own club," she said. "Grandma doesn't get to pick who's in it." We ordered takeout, dragged chairs from the dining room and crowded around my small table. There were 2 empty chairs I'd left at the end out of habit, like maybe my parents would walk in. They didn't. Noah laughed so hard at something Jason said that soda came out of his nose. The kids took turns falling off the beanbag. Someone started a Nerf war in the hallway. It was loud and chaotic and imperfect, but no one forgot his name. No one asked if he really counted. Later that night, after everyone left and the house was finally quiet, I walked past the trash can in the kitchen. The old shower bag was still at the bottom, under new layers of coffee grounds and junk mail. For the first time, I didn't feel a twist of guilt about it. They'd made their choice years ago in 100 small ways. I'd finally made mine. I can't give my parents a dream house. I can't fix whatever part of them decided my kid was optional. But I can give my son something better than a porch swing and a big kitchen. I can give him a life where he never has to stand at a table looking for his name and wonder if he belongs. And I don't need $380,000 or their approval to do it. What would you have done in my shoes, when your own family showed you where your son truly stood? Have you ever had to choose between family obligation and standing up for what's right? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts.